What's up, Affordable Armory folks? How y'all doing? So, a while back I did a video on how I set up a home defense rifle based on some classes that I had taken, and I'll put a link to that right up here somewhere. Maybe it's over here, I don't know. Anyways, you'll see the link. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. This video is sort of a follow-up to that. So I personally have always thought that battle belts were for the Tactitards, the Super Mall Ninja, Delta Ranger, Special Ops wannabe guys. You know, uh, the guys who have never actually done any of the stuff that this gear was designed to do, right? Now, that being aside, if you are special forces, special operations, SWAT team, whatever, good for you. And I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I know some of those guys. I've worked with some of those guys. So in those classes, the idea of a battle belt came up again, this time from a more practical standpoint. So I thought I'd reattack that. In this video, I'm going to cover two battle belt setups that I've got here. One in my right hand here, this is your super budget option, and then this one right here is your, not, I wouldn't say like super expensive version or high tier, but it's up there. Like, this is some quality gear we're going to be talking about. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me. Maybe it's over here. I don't know which side it's on, one or the other. Somewhere down below. Click that subscribe button so you'll find out when future videos come out. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so again, I was kind of talking about it in the intro. Why in the heck would you even want a battle belt? The reason that I think you should have a battle belt is if you are choosing to use a rifle for home defense, you're going to want a backup system. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the battle belt gives you the opportunity to have a pistol mounted to it. It gives you the opportunity to have reloads mounted to it, as well as medical gear mounted to it, and we'll go over all that when we get over to the workbench. And those things could be important. You know, if you're in a home defense situation and you're having to use your gun and then suddenly your gun doesn't work, it would be nice to have a backup to go to, like, immediately. So that's the whole purpose, for me at least, of having these setups. All right, so having said that, let's head over to the workbench. I'll give you an overview of how each of these belts is set up, talk about why I've chosen the things that I have for each belt, and maybe some considerations for your mission. Okay, so this is the budget setup, and I believe all of this is Condor gear. I'll put links to this down below. Those are like Amazon affiliate links if you want to purchase any of this stuff and help support the channel in the process. But so we'll start with the holster. So this is their drop leg holster, and this would be the first thing that I would upgrade, okay? I would not recommend this for long-term purposes. You can see I've got a flashlight mounted here in the pouch, which was actually probably meant for a spare magazine, but I would never personally put a spare magazine right next to my gun. That's just not a logical place to put a spare magazine. I mean, I guess if you're doing strong hand only reloads or something, I don't know. But for me personally, it doesn't make sense to put a spare magazine there. And again, the reason I would upgrade this holster, well, there's multiple reasons. One, this is a nylon holster, so you can see I am able to very easily press in on that. There's absolutely no retention on that whatsoever. You can see this is my Beretta M9 that I've put in there just for show. It does have a retention strap, so you could technically clip that and it would stay in there, but there's nothing guarding the trigger, really. If something bumped against that or something, it's just not ideal, okay? I would spend some money and get a quality holster. We'll talk about that when I show you the other setup. The other reason being, this thing is a drop leg, and you can see it's got these straps. There's two of them that go around your leg. For home defense purposes, I'm probably not going to have the time. I mean, assuming I even have time to throw this on at all, I'm not going to have the time to sit there and try and buckle one, let alone two leg straps to make sure that it stays against my leg. Okay, so this thing is just, I don't know, it's flimsy. Like this buckle, even though it's plastic, is pretty solid, but the strap here, I mean, that's just a piece of Velcro that wraps around the belt. So I would go with a nicer holster. Sorry, Condor. You know, it's decent entry-level gear. If you're just using this for airsoft or something, sure, go to town, whatever. But for real-world, like, actual use, no way. Okay, so here you can see what the actual belt itself looks like. This is the outer belt, and then this is their inner belt. If you order this thing, it comes with 2 mag pouches that I'm not really using. They were horizontal mount pouches, and I think you could mount them vertical as well, but I just took those off because I have some other pouches that I'm using. This is a fairly decent belt. It's like a rigid nylon. It's not the best, but it is for what it's doing here. It works just fine. It's really just holding this in place. So as you can see, it kind of weaves through here underneath, and then I'll show you these just Velcro over the top. And there you can see that the belt, there are retainer straps right there, and then the belt just weaves through underneath, and then these Velcro over the top. Very, very easy to set this up. And then here is my complaint: is this is pretty much the only spot that you can put the holster. There's one on the left side as well, but that's pretty much all you got. So, and this is again what I was talking about. It's just Velcroed around the belt, but there are some MOLLE setups so that you could put it, you know, forward a little bit or backwards a little bit. But for me, having only one real spot that you can place the holster is kind of a downside, especially if this isn't an exact fit. Like for me, this is a medium padded belt, and I probably could have went with a smaller size, because like you can see how I've got this belt set up. Like that thing is wrapped all the way around me, and I mean I've had to tighten this belt down. There's no slack. Really, these right here should be resting just in front of your hips, and it is wrapped all the way around me when I put it on. So think about that when you're ordering these, that this is pretty large, even though it's a medium. Now, let's talk about setup. So I already showed you the holster. On the back side here, the only thing I have here is the dump pouch. This is also made by Condor. And I'm kind of iffy on the practicality of these. I used to call them the dumb pouch because, well, to me it's just dumb. It is useful, okay? Like the intent of it is when you dump magazines, you put your empty ones in here. That way they're not just laying around on the ground. Personally, when I reload, I drop the mag, I put the fresh one in. I'm not worried about it. When I'm done, I'll pick them all up, and then I'll go reload them. So for my purposes, it's still just the dumb pouch. If you're doing training, it's great for water bottles. If you know, I don't know, stick a bag of seeds in there, you know, that you can munch on all day. Maybe some beef jerky. I don't know. It's a utility pouch, if anything. So I don't personally need one of these, but they are kind of nice to have for just holding stuff, basically. Now, on my left side here, this is where I keep the magazine pouches. We got 2 pouches here. These are both made by Condor. This is their triple mag pouch for your rifle magazines, and this is their triple mag pouch for pistol magazines. And as you can see, I've got 3 mags in here, and I've got 3 mags in here. Again, just weaves right on there through the MOLLE. Very easy to set up if you have ever set up any sort of MOLLE gear before. It's on there nice and tight. I'm not moving that at all. That's not coming off unless I undo it. So I'd say it's solid. There are some things that I don't necessarily like about this. So one would be these covers. I get why you may want to have covers, like if you're again, real world operations. You're jumping out of helicopters and doing all sorts of Superman GI type stuff. I've seen those guys' setups, and they typically have one covered and one uncovered because if one happens to fall out, they've still got their backup. So I get that, but I don't want all three of them covered. Now you could just cut it off, or you probably could tuck it in behind or something, but I just don't like having to pull this to get to my mags. So, and the other thing is these AR pouches, they're super deep. Look how deep that is. Like, I can't grab it. I have to grab it like this. I would much rather prefer to actually grab the body of the magazine to do the reload. So, I mean, I have to kind of grab it with my fingers. I guess you could put Ranger plates or whatever on there, you know, some fancy widgets and gizmos. I'm not about that. That's not how I roll. They also have these retention straps, and I don't want those either. Again, I just want fast access to my mags. If I'm going to reload, I want to be able to go pop. There it is. So, I mean, for what it's supposed to do, it does it, right? You've got 3 mags on your belt. You got 3 pistol mags on your belt. They're there. Maybe not the greatest setup, but it works. So there is your budget level setup for a battle belt. And all of this, I want a ballpark, would probably be $150 or less grand total for the whole setup. I will do some math here in a minute and actually figure that out for sure. But I'm guessing roughly $150 or less, maybe even $100 total for this whole setup. So not bad. If you're just wanting to get a very basic setup and you're not ever going to like go train with it or whatever, this could probably work for you. Now, having said that, let's talk about a setup that I actually use and use in classes, as well as have set up for my home defense purposes. Okay, so here is a more serious setup. This is a more practical and useful setup, something that I would train with and something that I would actually trust my life with as a backup to my home defense rifle. So this belt is made by Wilder Tactical. You can kind of see I know it's upside down, but there's their logo right there. This is also a medium. However, this fits me much, much better. These are much truer to size, and yeah, just all around better belt. Now, there is a whole lot of different stuff going on here. If you want this setup, I ordered it as a kit, and then there's a couple things that I've added on. But it's called the Operator something or other. I don't remember exactly. But if you go to their website, you'll see it. And it ran $200. And for an additional $50, I was able to get the inner belt here, which, yeah, sadly, for $200, you only get the outer belt. But that package came with the outer belt, as well as 2 AR mags, 2 pistol mags. And then for the extra $50, I got the belt as well as another mag carrier that I'm not using. So let's talk about what I've got going on this belt, how it's different from the other belt, and why I think it's way, way better. Okay, for starters, look how much thinner this belt is. Okay, this is the width of the belt all the way through. It's much, much nicer. It doesn't have that super thick feeling in the back like the other one does. And also the texturing on this, much, much nicer. This is, I didn't really show that on the other belt. It's kind of like just a generic webbing on the inside, whereas this is like a soft, rubbery neoprene, I don't even know what, but it has like a gel kind of feel to it. It is super comfortable. And it's like rubbery on the outside, so it sticks to you. So wherever you put this thing on your body, it does not move. I promise you. I've done jumping jacks in this thing, and it did not move. That's pretty awesome. So I'm not a super fan of this minimalist belt. That's the name of the belt if you're on the Wilder Tactical website. And the main reason is, if you look right here, this is the actual belt, and it's made of the stiff, like double layered nylon or whatever material, and it's awesome. all the way to there, but then all of a sudden you have just this little baby strap, like, oh, that's so cute, and then you have this tiny little buckle. I want that all the way extended, and I want a full-size buckle, because this thing, yes, it works, and they say it's rated for, however many pounds. I'm not going to quote a poundage and then have someone holler at me, oh, you said it was rated for, I don't know how many pounds it's rated for. I just don't like how small it is. It's tiny, and I would much rather have this extended all the way out and have a full-size buckle. So I may be ordering one of those soon to replace this, but just something to keep in mind. So this is the minimalist belt. This right here, as you can see by there being a tourniquet in there, is a tourniquet pouch. And I've put that right in front of my pistol so that I can have quick access to it with either hand. Now, speaking of the pistol, this one I have set up with a Safariland holster on a mid-drop. So you can see right there. Look how easy this is to set up. Okay, so these are not MOLLE. The belt is just threaded through there. So I just choose which ones I want to thread it through and which ones I don't. And I mount the gear accordingly. So how I set it up was I laid my gear out and I put some tape on there to mark where the gear was going to go. And then as I threaded the belt through, I just didn't thread it through, or I did thread it through the certain loops. So that easy. But I've got this mid-drop holster setup going on, and what I like about it is it gets it just low enough that makes the draw easier, and it gets it out of the way of the gear. I've also got it set up on this QLS system here, so if I wanted to, I could release that, take this holster off, and then run this holster. So that's what the forks look like. And this one is for my Glock 19. It's also a Safariland holster, different style, okay? But this one is the, you got the thumb retention, I believe, is how that one works, whereas this one here is finger retention. So when you get your grip, your finger hits that, and that releases the retention. So this holster is kind of nice because it's got this screw here, so I can take this gun out and put in, say, my Beretta 92, and twist that holster and fit the retention on it for it to work with that gun. Or, like I said, I've got the QLS system. This one is specific to a Glock 19. Swap that out. Boom, I'm running my Glock. Okay, so here's where we get some differences from the last setup. I already showed you that I have a tourniquet on here. And then instead of the dumb pouch, I've got, this is an AR-500 med pouch. And so in here is actually a med kit. And I'm not going to pull it out because it is kind of tough to get in there. But it's literally pull that and then keep pulling and the whole kit comes right out. So that's where I've got the rest of my med gear. Again, tourniquet, I already showed you. And then this has the combat gauze and the NPA and stuff like that in it. So that's one major difference. This is not made by Wilder Tactical. This is made by AR-500. And that, again, cost me a bit of money. So moving on, we've got the 2 AR mag pouches and the 2 pistol mag pouches, and these are much, much better. As you can see already, what I talked about on the other ones was being able to get a hold of the, and look at that. I can grab the whole thing just like that, and it comes right out. You can hear the retention. That's not moving. That sucker is not going anywhere. The retention is easy to adjust. If it's too tight, you just pull out on this bungee cord here, and then it will change the retention on it. Super easy. Same with the pistol mags. So I've got this set up for these mags. If Glock mags are slightly different size, then you just adjust it accordingly, loosen it or tighten it, whatever. But yeah, very nice retention on those. You can hear it clicked into place right there. And that's that. So as far as the operator kit that I ordered, it came with the padded belt. It came with these 2 mag pouches, these 2 mag pouches, and the tourniquet pouch. I added everything else that's on here, including this internal belt, the AR-500 med kit, and the holster. So there you go. That's a roundup of this setup. As you can tell, this is much, much more expensive. You're talking $250 with the belt, the padded belt, and the pouches plus the holster setup was probably another 75, 80 bucks between the holster and the QLS kit and the mid drop. And then the AR 500 pouch was, I think it was 25 or 30 bucks on the AR 500 website. So you're talking, well over $300, almost $350 for this setup versus that other kit that, like I said, was, you can get into for $150 or less. But this is a much, much higher quality setup. I would rely on this way, way more. So there you have it. There's a couple different options for you to think about for a battle belt setup and why you may want one. Leave me a comment below. Do you have a battle belt setup? And if so, what are you using? Again, if this is your first time here, go ahead and click that subscribe button for me, wherever it is, one or the other. Maybe it's up here, I don't know. As always, head over to affordable-armory.com. That's where the blog lives. That's where all of our affiliate links are. That's where all of our social media links are. And that's where we have merch like this here hat, and you can pick yourself one up and help support the channel in the process. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.